So Florida is building a new detention center, and they're referring to it as Alligator Alcatraz. The White House retweeted a tweet from Homeland Security. It says coming soon, and you have alligators with ice hats on. Basically, their government is tweeting themselves out as being alligators and reptiles. This is Governor DeSantis of Florida talking about it.
We've got a massive runway right behind us where any of the federal assets that they want to fly these people back to their home country, they can do it one-stop shop.
One-stop shop, you got it all. You got the detention facility, you've got the airport. Can the federal government make good use of this?
We sure can. Talk about efficiency right then and there. But also I want to talk about the funding for this. Some of it will be paid by the state of Florida, but a lot of it will be paid by the federal government. We're actually looking at FEMA to fund this.
So as she said, we're looking at FEMA to fund this, right? So this, you have to understand, where's the money coming from? Well, states fear critical funding from FEMA may be drying up, or something like this. Lawmakers don't know why Trump keeps denying disaster mitigation grants. So think of it this way, simplest terms, there's a hurricane, there's a fire in your neighborhood, and there's no money for anyone to come help you, because all that money is being spent on this new Alligator Alcatraz kind of thing. Let's put it in the most simplest terms. When I showed you guys the meme in the last video, the alligator and ice hat thing, I was like, what the heck is this stuff? And it's hard to keep track of all the stuff that they're doing. But this is what it is, and I'll just be frank with you guys, it's really ugly. Here's another one. Emergency experts outraged after learning of U.S. plans to phase out FEMA following hurricane season. Not even Trump can resist the blowback. And if you've been following the news cycle just the past week or so, Fox has been telling you how awesome our bombers are, and Trump's talking about we're going to bomb Iran as much as we possibly can. This is where I guess the focus is build up that military, build up our prisons, right? Let's put all our money in that kind of stuff. Let's cut education, cut Medicaid, cut food programs for kids, this kind of stuff. And this is where we are at. Here's DeSantis bragging about his detention center thing here.
So, I mean, this is going to be, illegals will come in, they'll be processed, there'll be places for them to be housed, you'll have an ability for food, you'll have an ability for them to consult legal rights if they have that, because there is a process that's involved with this. So this is really everything. This is going to be a self-contained little area. And then, of course, you also have stuff for the staff that work here. So we've got laundry facilities, we've got showers, we've got, obviously, there you see the shower and bath facilities.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
Where do you go to get a bunch of bathrooms like that?
Well, so this is being done by the Division of Emergency Management.
Right, he mentioned again where the money's coming from for this stuff. It looks like to DeSantis in Florida, they seized the land. It says DeSantis invokes emergency powers. It's like, hey, it's an emergency. I have to take your land, right? Invokes emergency powers to build controversial deportation site in the Everglades. This is near Miami-Dade Airport. So if you guys are familiar with the area, you can let me know. Moving forward with plans to build a temporary immigration detention and deportation center dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. The project will transform the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport, a largely inactive site in deep Florida Everglades, into holding center for as many as 5,000 detainees. And again, he's using the emergency powers to seize this land. This also comes at a time when a Canadian citizen just recently died in ICE custody. You guys probably heard about that. But he's not the only one. There's been other people as well. I make no jokes about this stuff because it is gravely serious, as people's lives are on the line and people are disappearing, effectively being kidnapped in USA by these masked Trump goons, the ICE officers. And, you know, the people who are in charge of this stuff are wildly incompetent.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem joins me now. Okay, Secretary, we have a...
See, they're calling it Gator Gitmo, referring to Guantanamo Bay, which has a very negative connotation in the history of prisoner abuse. So it's awkward that, well, this is how Fox News is. I guess they celebrate prisoner abuse at Fox, right? I mean, like literally, because you're here, DeSantis debuts Gator Gitmo. Let's hear what she has to say about this.
A little problem with some criminal migrants up in New Jersey. They broke out of a detention center. Was the idea to put it near a swamp so it was more secure and you didn't really have to have the taxpayers pay extra for security?
Well, ever since President Trump came into office, he encouraged us to build relationships with governors and with local law enforcement to go out there and help us with these enforcement activities. So we've been doing that on arrests and detainments. And now this is absolutely fantastic. This first.
So I guess according to Fox and the White House and all the Trumpers, this is fantastic. Let's build as many bombs as we can. Let's build as many private prisons as we can, these kind of things. Let's have Florida seize land, detain people. And make no mistake, there is money in this stuff. The Florida one, I think I read it was like 450 million a year, something like that. We're talking about, it's real money here. And then now they're trying to pass as Republicans their big, beautiful bill. They put out this ridiculous commercial here. It's a 1980s style commercial. Have a take a look at this.
Are you ready? For now, all of today's hottest issues taken care of in one big beautiful bill. Move into a new dimension with the year's biggest topics taken care of. Smash hits from no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, strengthening Social Security, border security, and more. The one big beautiful bill delivers the biggest results you crave, but you must call members of Congress to vote yes today. There's never been one big beautiful bill like this until now. Now that's what I call freedom.
Yeah, that's what you call freedom. That was actually real. This is the White House just 7 hours ago tweeting out this ridiculous commercial. We're there. We're in this crazy dystopian kind of world where they basically twist reality. They get you to celebrate regular people just getting arrested and disappearing. And now we're talking about alligators. I mean, you can see right there, Alligator Alcatraz. It is frankly sick, but you do need to inform people of what is really going on here. I mean, just watch.
Out of this country and face the consequences for their crimes.
Secretary, was this bad hombre like handcuffed to something and he was trying to chew his arm off so he could escape? Or was he just hung?
So what they have to do every day, and I mentioned this before when we started talking about Elon Musk, is they have to tweet out every single day that all these, people from whatever countries or look a certain way, they're all criminals and dangerous. That's what they have to do. They have to constantly nonstop bombard you. That's what Fox does all the time to get you to think that, certain groups of people are not human, basically, right? They deserve to be, be in the places with the alligators, that kind of stuff. And this kind of rhetoric, as you guys know, is very, very dangerous. And this is how you get people to go along with this insane and inhuman propaganda. It's scary stuff. And, and then you have a portion of the population in USA that wants to roll back things back to the good old days of the 1800s, that kind of stuff. Listen to what Trump has to say.
They used birthright citizenship, some of the worst people, some of the cartels, to get people into our country, just so you know. And again, I say, if you look at the end of the Civil War, the 1800s, it was a very turbulent time. If you take the end day, was it 1869 or whatever, but you take that exact day, that's when the case was filed. And the case ended shortly thereafter. This had to do with the babies of slaves, very, very obviously. And I think we're going to win. People I don't think they went about discussing it.
So that's why his mind is always on, right? He's talking about like this Civil War era kind of stuff. He'll reference tax, right? It's like, taxes are terrible in the modern era. We got to take it back to like Civil War era, and why would we want to have any sort of government programs, right? Why would we want public education or public health, right? We should go back to the Civil War. I mean, this is like that's sort of what they're getting at all the time with this stuff. That's why they're talking about, say, repealing the 14th Amendment, basically. Or if you remember when Trump first came into office the first time around, you had basically, another way to put it, we'll call it white sheet kind of people were congregating with the masks off, right? Carrying the torches. And this is, who the USA is now. We're hey, how many more times can we bomb Iran? How much can we distract people, right? So while Trump and his family run their crypto scams or their phone scams or their Bible scams or shoe scams or guitar scams, and it's hard to talk about all of them because, yes, they're running multiple scams all at the same time. But that's what it is. And why are people cheering for this stuff? It's insane. This just came out today, and I want to bring this up to you as well to understand our system. So his Supreme Court okays fee that subsidizes phone internet services in schools, libraries, and rural areas. And what is this one all about? This is an interesting one because you have to understand how the U.S. is made up. Many of the blue states, we use the example of California, effectively is a donor state. They pay more into the system than they take. There are many Republican red states out there that take a lot more. And something like this, for example, the idea would be if you put a system in place where you use phones and you buy whatever service, there's fees on there, and then they can subsidize the red states. I mention that is because oftentimes these Republican type people, the MAGA people, they like to attack California as being just an awful place and terrible, terrible, terrible. But without them, like, you would be in really deep trouble, right? And what you don't see what's happening is as Trump continues to cut as much as they possibly can with their big, beautiful bill, life's going to get even worse. And in my opinion, I'm just speaking, playing with you guys, there's going to be a bigger divide between rich and poor and a bigger gap between states. So, and this is something I write about in my book. It's a big theme of the book. You got to go where there's better opportunity, right? That could be a different city, could be a different state, could be a different country, whatever, right? But you're going to have to move. But that's not anything new necessarily, but I just think it's even more so because the way that things are going, the Trump people are increasing the divide between the rich and poor, and they want you to focus on, guys, we need to bomb as much as we can, and we need to, imprison people as much as we can. I do want you to be aware, though, that not everyone necessarily is on board with building as many prisons as we possibly can, or detention centers. Check this out. This is a protest in Florida right now.
Get out, my swamp!
Tonight, legal challenges loom as Florida scrambles to complete the isolated detention center dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. Deep in the Everglades, dump trucks today rolling right past hundreds of protesters condemning the development.
Right, so not everyone necessarily is on board with this, ICE just disappearing people and things like that. It's gotten so bad, I didn't realize this. So I used to live in LA, so I know the city very, very well. But these are the kind of signs I guess you'll see around. And if you guys are in LA or other cities, if you've seen these signs, please let me know. The first time I've seen this, it says, have you seen or been detained by Immigration Customs Enforcement, ICE? And they got like a phone number hotline to call. Disappeared by ICE in LA, how to find relatives. Like, these are the kind of things that we have to be talking about, right? How to support people who family members have disappeared. And again, I just wanted to bring this stuff to your attention. When I saw the alligator meme on the earlier video, I was like, what are they talking about? I thought, it's just trying to pit themselves as reptiles and scary. But now we're actually really referencing this Alligator Alcatraz thing that I keep talking about. So that's what's going on. I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next video.